evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Eliza Petrie. Pope Francis has died a day after making an appearance on Easter Sunday. The Vatican announced the pontiff died at 7:35 this morning. The pontiff was released from the hospital on March 23rd after 5 weeks of intensive care due to double pneumonia complications. And here in Springfield, Bishop Papacy shares his thoughts.
I would sum up the life of Pope Francis with 3 words, basically, words of his own choosing that I think were very important to him. Those words are love, mercy, and hope.
People around the world will remember Pope Francis as a humble man that did not forget the less fortunate. Fox News' correspondent Rebecca Castor takes a look back at his life and the legacy he leaves behind.
When the white smoke filled the air over the Vatican in March of 2013, it signaled Pope Francis had been elected to lead the Catholic Church. And almost from that moment, he signaled changes were coming. The first pontiff from Latin America, the first Jesuit, the first to call himself Francis, would be just a few of the new beginnings. Born Jorge Bergoglio in Buenos Aires on December 17, 1936, to Italian immigrant parents. He graduated with a degree in philosophy from the College of San Jose and San Miguel and was ordained a priest in 1969. In 1992, Pope John Paul II appointed him a bishop. 6 years later, he became Archbishop of Buenos Aires, a culturally diverse and economically challenged community. 3 years later, he was elevated to cardinal, where he was known for taking public transportation instead of a private car. When Pope John Paul II died in 2005, he was among the cardinals who elected Joseph Ratzinger, who became Benedict XVI. 8 years later, Benedict became the first pope in nearly 600 years to resign, sending shockwaves throughout the world. For Benedict's successor, the cardinals chose the 76-year-old Bergoglio. It was a surprise to most, but not his fellow cardinals. He turned down the palatial papal quarters in favor of a more modest residence at the Vatican. He also began speaking frankly about modern issues, famously saying, "Who am I to judge?" when asked about the sexual orientation of priests. Passionate about the environment, his signature encyclical Laudato Si outlined how global warming hurts the less fortunate around the world. Francis also defended Islam while condemning the terror group ISIS. In the wake of deadly terror attacks on Christians in Egypt, Francis traveled to Cairo, extending the hand of fellowship to Muslims. Francis worked to make the Catholic Church more welcoming and inclusive. He said he welcomed criticism of his papacy because it meant there was freedom to speak. His priestly motto had always been a Latin phrase that recognizes God's mercy and sovereignty, a sentiment that guided his ministry and will now be his legacy. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Thank you, Rebecca. And as you mentioned, Pope Francis radically transformed the Catholic Church with shifts in policy, causing contention within its ranks. He approved a landmark policy allowing priests to bless same-sex couples and shifted the Church's tone about the LGBTQ+ community. He also shifted the tone about divorced and remarried Catholics, allowing them to receive certain sacraments. Francis was outspoken about climate change, immigrant rights, and he increased the visibility and roles of women in the church. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Eliza Petrie. Pope Francis has died a day after making an appearance on Easter Sunday. The Vatican announced the pontiff died at 7:35 this morning. The pontiff was released from the hospital on March 23rd after 5 weeks of intensive care due to double pneumonia complications. Local religious leaders remarking on the time of his passing.
It's very fitting that he died the day after Easter, after making his final public appearance at St. Peter's Square and briefly addressing the people and his last words wishing them a happy Easter.
And for the first time in 100 years, the Pope will not be buried beneath the Vatican's St. Peter's Basilica alongside many of his predecessors, which isn't the first time that Pope Francis has broken with tradition during his tenure. Tributes are pouring in from around the world as Catholics remember Pope Francis. The death of the pontiff on Easter Monday has sparked reactions from world leaders and the faithful all across the globe. He will be remembered as not only a man of God, but also a man of the people. Sherelle Hubbard has more.
Dear brothers and sisters, with deep sorrow I must announce the death of our Holy Father Francis.
The changing of the guard after the 88-year-old pontiff died this morning from a stroke and heart failure. Cardinal Kevin Farrell from the U.S. becoming acting head of the Vatican until a new pope is elected.
Buona Pasqua.
Just yesterday, Pope Francis gave the Easter blessing from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica and rode through the square in the Pope-mobile. Today, the faithful mourn him.
Asking the Lord's mercy on his immortal soul, thanking God for the gift that he was to us, and asking for consolation upon God's family.
The White House ordered flags to be flown at half-staff, the Vatican sealing the Pope's official residence, symbolizing the beginning of the mourning period. Francis will be remembered for his unorthodox approach and for being inclusive.
The fact that he spoke up for immigrants, the fact that he came from another part of the world.
He sort of set the groundwork for a broader, more accepting and loving and welcoming church.
And he's being remembered by many as the people's Pope, always advocating for humanity to do unto others.
If we want life, let us give life.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Thank you, Sherelle. Pope Francis's death comes weeks after he was released from the hospital after battling double pneumonia. His death triggers the start of 9 days of mourning, and the conclave, the secretive process of picking a new pope, is expected to begin in 15 to 20 days. And a few names have been floated among the church's cardinals as who could be the next pope. The Vatican Secretary of State Pietro Parolin is among them. Peter Turkson of Ghana, Peter Erdo of Hungary, and Louis Hagel have all received speculation. More than 130 cardinals are eligible to vote. And lawmakers across the U.S. are sending their condolences as they remember Pope Francis. Illinois Senator Dick Durbin saying in a statement, "We have lost the messenger, but we must hold fast to the message of Pope Francis to love and respect one another. In a world of hate and fear, Pope Francis's message of peace and understanding is needed now more than ever." He goes on to say that the Pope should be honored with a Francis Day of World Peace.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and be sure to watch more videos from Fox Illinois.